The mod guys are in the spirit. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. It's time for that Mod Collection Demo Shop update this week. We've got some more spooky themes going through our guitar. We're going to start off with this orange dream finish. So we got a 70s Flying V, a Les Paul Special, and an ES335. Let's start with the coolest one in my book. This totally looks just like a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin, but it's been carved up with F-holes instead of something spooky. All it needs is a little bit of pumpkin texture over it, and it's looking good. And oh man, too bad they didn't put black binding on it too. That would have really Halloweenified it. But you've got the black headstock, plastics, all that, okay. Even the back is all orange, and that is a gloss refinish. And they're numbering the back of the headstock. So this one's 3, the Les Paul Special is 2, and the Flying V is 1. I had a few people message me about that saying, hey, what's going on here with these numbers? They didn't realize that these were some sort of a series. Now in the past, they would number them on the back 1 out of 5, but this one, it just seems that they went in order for this set. Whether they're going to do more or not, I think depends on the popularity. Unfortunately, at the time of recording, none of these have had any interest in selling, but the orange is a pretty cool rockin' finish on a V, but I would say that was my least favorite because the black plastics on the Special work really great. I think the reason why these haven't sold incredibly fast is these were all priced at premiums. Like that's a $1,000 premium for the orange gloss finish, $700 premium on the Special, but oddly enough, only a $300 premium on the 335. Now it's possible this started life as one of the Satin finished ones, and then the new finish kind of bumped it up a grade, so maybe they had less cost in that one. Check out Gourdburst. It's a Les Paul Standard 60s. However, it has real /Anaconda vibes. I love that top. It works incredibly well with that hue. You've got the uncovered double black pickups, you've got your cream plastics. For some reason, they decided to throw a trapeze tailpiece on it just for good measure. And you've got a really woodsy looking fretboard. Then when you flip it over to the back, you still have the original red colorings, so it's a very exotic looking Paul. And oh, nice custom buckers in there. That makes it worth paying a small premium for. Next up, you don't have to be in the Halloween spirit to like, it's Dark Star Blue. So this is an SG special at a very small premium. It's just a really nice dark metallic blue coloring. I love that. Bring that into production, please. However, where things get interesting is our headstock. It's matching, and it was a complete refinish. And if we can believe the description, it's a gloss finish. But now a stark contrast, Amber Old Fashioned. This is definitely a far cry from the Tobacco Sunburst or Gold Top finish that these 50s P90s are offered in currently. It's just a nice ruby red. It looks like it might even have a little bit of a burst. Then we've got our tortoiseshell pickguard with black plastics for the P90, that's new. The back is quite interesting. Honestly, I like this natural burst. I think we could bring that into other models because it's very 70s inspired because you get the burst here, you get it on the back of the headstock, you get it on the body. I wonder if they bothered to put it around the edges. Not sure how I feel about the tortoiseshell backplates, but it's unique, especially when it looks like the neck has maybe a little bit of flame figuring within it. Here's a case of spooky deja vu, a Les Paul Custom Ebony. So we were just talking about guitars that were numbered 1 out of 5, 1 out of 3, or whatnot. About a year or so ago, Gibson did a limited run of TelePauls, as I called it. I actually documented one because it was such an interesting concept when they put Telecaster pickups in a Les Paul Custom. What they did is they put this unique motif over here. So kind of like the Hummingbird 335 that the EU mod collection has currently. This one, it doesn't have the Tele pickups. And the back of those headstocks said 1 out of 5, and 3 of them only showed up. So here we are, considerable time later, 5 of 5 finally showed up. So I wonder if the last 2 just have regular humbuckers. So if you like the idea of this, but not necessarily the pickups, there you go, check it out. But now we've got Rum Burgundy, which is kind of like a dark Merlot, maybe a little bit of a purplish hue, mixed with a black border, and then we get gold hardware, which is unique to a standard, and then creamy-ish plastics. And now I'm curious about the back. Nice. Body, neck, and headstock. Fully covered, that's a cool one. Being offered at a small premium. However, that looks like a satin refinish to me. But now this one has me really divided. It's a Les Paul Studio that they called Scarlet Sorcery. So we've seen guitars like this before that were half and half. They're kind of interesting. When you actually look at this, it's not like properly masked off. So I'm confused. Was that intentional? Is this part of the design being kind of wiggly? Because the headstock's like that, as is the back of the neck. Or did it start out as an error and they just had to keep going with it? Because the other question I have is, did this start life as black or red? Which is the new finish? But we've got to take a second to look at this headstock again. They did a fantastic job on that. They even took the time to find an obnoxiously large Les Paul model silkscreen. That's like twice the size it normally is. But yet it doesn't look as out of place because the duality of the colors are catching your attention. And you can also notice there's kind of an interesting effect where it transitions between colors. that's present on both sides as well. So maybe not for everyone, but it's unique. But I think we might have got the answer to our question here, because this is painted over red. So this must have started life as a black studio. And then to round things off, we've got ghostly blue Satin. It's a 70s Explorer. Oh, wow. I did not notice this on launch day. We've got a P94 neck pickup, regular humbucker, all blacked out. You've got your regular controls, you've got a toggle. But hey, I did not notice this. Some sort of a coil split switch and then either a plug or some sort of a button. Looks like they hot rodded a 498T humbucker, so it's got different magnet pairings. And then 2 volume and master tone controls with push-pull pots for coil splitting on the bridge pickup and phase switching on the neck. Oh man, they put one of those in it? The burst driver circuit most likely, active boost circuit with battery housing installed from the rear. And wow, that's actually a kill switch. I've never used one like that. It almost looks not good enough for buckethead style stuff since it's so small. But I would have never guessed they put push-pull pots and then left that for all the other funky stuff. It's in a really good location too. When you're ready to kick it on, instead of stepping on a pedal, you can do it within your guitar. On top of that, we've got a new Gibson decal on here, kind of a sparkly silver color on top of our blue finish. But now looking at the back, you've got your new battery compartment here, and this is a full-on satin refinish. It's a good thing I didn't notice that one was so unique. I might have had to have bought it. But now let's head on over to the EU mod collection. I was a big fan of this 335 Trans Purple Burst. It's very grapey, it's got a nice top, nice aged hardware. The paint and flame scheme continues on the back, and you just get a nice kind of purpley neck. Following that up with Cracklin' Coal Burst. It's got a low embered finish, nice matching fretboard, and one of those old-timey Gibson logos. And normally, I don't get excited for black backs, but this works incredibly well because it's the open pore finish, so kind of like a dog hair finish. That works really well for the theme that they were going for. There's kind of an interesting modified SG tribute. Got a little bit of grayish gold stuff going on, some brown, Bigsby Vibramate 5. Again, the return of the old-timey logo. And this is pretty interesting. Chocolatey body, but you've got more of an ambered neck, and it's made of maple, and you've got a little bit of figuring within it. Then we had an SG Modern that they put gold hardware on, bedazzled everything else, including our knobs and our tuner tips. And just a seemingly basic Les Paul Classic, the only modifications being our electronics, with hand-wired pots and burst bucker pups. So now it's time to check out the demo shops. We're actually going to start with the UK this time. They're celebrating 150 years of Epiphone within the UK demo shop. So we got a whole bunch of Epiphones here, which seems kind of strange to have them in the Gibson demo shop. But I get what they're doing, trying to tie it into their anniversary year and get rid of some of these B stock models that they didn't necessarily have an avenue to sell them off on their own. I'd personally never seen an Epiphone Deluxe Classic F-hole, and in fact, I didn't even realize that was a bass. I like this playing of the photos. Yeah, I never knew that they had a bass version of this. One time when I was visiting Sweetwater, I did run into an Epiphone that looked similar to this, and I was actually quite impressed, and it was an arch top. But it's stamped demo. Check this out, one of the old 2015 Joe Bonamassa signature Les Pauls. If I remember correctly, this was one of his first ones before he just ended up getting one every October. I mean, that's some seriously old stock. I think somebody probably got a good deal on this if the prices on these are anything like the other Joe Bonamassa models. And lastly, I thought this Crestwood Custom was pretty attractive. That double pick guard with some areas being clear and the badgeless trem system gave it a very unique logo. And who doesn't like the bikini plaque? And surprise, surprise, the European demo shop did the exact same thing, except for they did mix a few Gibsons within all the Epiphones. So I will allow you to browse these here at your leisure, but here is what ended up standing out to me. One of the bone white BB King Lucille's. We did review and demo one of these if you want to check it out. They were country-specific limited edition finishes. I think the USA got cherry red, and then some other lucky ones got this bone white. Somebody had actually wanted the bone white. They paid the premium to get it to the States. I remember thinking that was a great guitar. But I was shocked to see this, last year's Joe Bonamassa model. These ones didn't really seem to catch the world on fire by any means, unlike some of his previous customs. But hey, wow, that's got a great back. But then to continue along the Joe Bonamassa theme, this one was, I think, from 2 years ago. It's a fantastic guitar, you know, for the price, triple humbucker, and you get a very unique tuner style on them. If I remember correctly, they weren't the best feeling tuners, but they're interesting. But everybody loves black 3 pickup customs, so those things sold incredibly well. But now that I think about it, that might have been 3 years ago. Is this the one that was 2 years ago? I'll have to refresh my memory. There's so many of them, it gets difficult. The best thing about them is the fact that they came with the Gibson Burstbucker pickups. So they were well worth the price. And it kind of set a standard that they decided not to continue on with for future models, which I've always been kind of sad about. Because that's the thing about the Joe B models, is they're usually so well spec'd out. Even if you don't care who Joe is or the music he plays, anybody can pick these things up because they have interesting stories and they just play and sound great. They had not one, but two of the Lazaruses. When they're selling them for that price, I mean, these do sit on the used market and can sell for like $1,500, so they were great prices. And then I'm not even sure how old this one is. It's one of the Epiphone Tony Iommis. That's gotta have some age to it. Well, maybe not as old as I thought, but cool cross inlays. Then they also had this weird looking blueberry burst. Yeah, this is one of those finishes you just leave to Gibson USA to do. It looks more like blood in the water burst to me. Maybe you could call it shark burst. Hoo-ha-ha. Although the side profile shot of the blue, yellow, red reminds me of the Centipede burst Les Paul custom. There was also a Veil of Bees Epiphone. We did a review and documentation on these if you want to learn more. So far, it seems like this is one of the more popular designs next to the Berzerker. We're probably about due for another one of those art offerings soon. And now you USA buyers, I know what you're thinking. You're excited to get some Epiphones in the demo shop. No, we did not get that treatment. However, we did get a lot of high-end models, like there's this Firebird Custom, a 68 Reissue, among a few others, but let's see the ones that I picked out. I thought this SG Modern had kind of an interesting top. Here's that 68 Custom I was talking about. You just don't see them in the demo shop every week, so I like to point them out when they do, because $5,000. If you're in the market specifically for this guitar, and it needs to be newish, it's not too bad. The 60 Standard had interesting gold hardware, and a rather plain top, but the gold and black really just transforms these standards. Check out this Adam Jones Standard. It was considerably marked down. It has these interesting lines. So I think the description called it a paint run of some sort, but it almost just looks like the wood grain didn't get filled or sanded down enough. So it's like showing through. I kinda like the effect. I think they could play around with that a little bit more. If we're using nitro finishes, there's usually some sort of lacquer sink eventually, so why don't we just play upon it and celebrate it if it's gonna happen? Then they got a 335 figured, got the interesting pickup covers, otherwise it's just kind of an interesting iced tea finish. Similar story for this Custom Shop Reissue Junior. I think it ended up here because the burst ended up being a little bit too dark. Like it's predominantly orange with just a spat of yellow. Whereas typically you see very light orange, big splat of yellow. But at the same time, I don't hate it. I mean, I think it just depends who ordered it and what they were expecting. They took this brand new 60s figure top and made it look completely strange. UFO knobs, fake gold foil covers. And oh, yeah, there we go with that mix matching back and neck. I mean, it's both mahogany, they just have significantly different colors. That's what I was trying to talk about in our giant 24 guitar unboxing episode. And then to end it out, there was a 50 Standard AAA top. A little over $500 off, very even, nice and pinstripey, but just wavy enough. And there's really only like one small dead spot right here, and that could have just been the photo angle. But at least you've got some wood grain in that area, even if not. All right, Troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, consider subscribing. I post videos like this every day. And you might even enjoy this next one.